A student is staring at lecture slides that finally make sense. A nurse is halfway through another brutal shift. A truck driver is trying to keep the highway from turning into a blur. Someone at a party feels electric, invincible, untouchable. Someone else is alone at a desk, tearing through work they should have started 3 days ago. Different lives, different reasons, same bargain, a pill, a line, a little chemical promise. You do not have to be tired. You do not have to be distracted. You do not have to stop. That is the appeal of amphetamines. Most drugs sell escape. Amphetamines sell usefulness. They don't just promise pleasure, they promise function, focus, drive, endurance. They offer something much harder to resist than getting high. The feeling that you can finally become the version of yourself the world keeps demanding. Sharper, faster, more productive, more alive. And that's exactly what makes them so dangerous. Because a drug that wrecks your life in obvious ways is easy to fear. A drug that helps you study, work, perform, and keep up? That's much easier to justify. So what exactly do amphetamines do to your brain? Why can they feel so effective? And why does something that seems to solve so many problems so often create new ones? To get that, you have to start with a basic fact about being human. Your brain does not run on logic alone. You can know exactly what you should be doing and still not do it. You can want to focus and still drift. You can be exhausted, overloaded, and behind. And watch yourself reach for anything easier, brighter, or more rewarding than the task in front of you. That's because your brain is constantly making a deeper calculation. What matters right now? What is worth effort? What deserves my attention? What can I ignore? Two chemicals play a huge role in that calculation: dopamine and noradrenaline. Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but that undersells it. Dopamine is about motivation, reward, and importance. It helps your brain decide that something matters enough to pursue. It gives actions weight. It turns "I should" into "I want to." Noradrenaline is more about alertness and readiness. It sharpens attention, wakes you up, and gets your brain and body ready to act. Amphetamines crank up both. That's why they can feel so dramatic. The change is not subtle. The fog lifts. Boring tasks feel less impossible. Fatigue backs off. Distractions lose some of their pull. Your mind locks on. Starting gets easier. Stopping gets harder. You are not necessarily smarter. You are not wiser. You are not suddenly full of brilliant new ideas. You are just much more able to push. And in the short term, that can feel incredible. A task you've avoided all week suddenly seems manageable. Your attention stops slipping off the page. You feel switched on, driven, efficient. Maybe for the first time in a while, your brain feels like it's working with you instead of against you. That's the hook. Amphetamines often don't feel like losing control. They feel like getting it back. And unlike a quick hit of caffeine, they can last for hours. Not a brief burst, but a long, sustained state of activation. Depending on the drug and dose, that can mean most of the day. That's a huge part of their appeal. They don't just give you energy, they give you usable energy. Which is why amphetamines fit modern life so perfectly. We live in a world that worships output. Deadlines stack up. Notifications never stop. Attention is fragmented into tiny pieces and sold to the highest bidder. Everybody is tired, but nobody is allowed to be slowed down by it. You are supposed to keep going, through the shift, through the semester, through the burnout, through the 1,000 little demands chewing on your brain. So, of course, a drug that seems to manufacture focus becomes culturally powerful. Amphetamines are not the drug of dropping out. They are the drug of keeping up. And that's part of what makes them so hard to judge. Because they are not just street drugs. They are also medicine. Prescription amphetamines like Adderall and Vyvanse are commonly used to treat ADHD. And for many people, they can be genuinely helpful. ADHD is not just being distracted a lot. It's a disorder that can affect attention regulation, impulse control, planning, and the ability to stay on task. For some patients, stimulants can make life far more manageable. They can quiet some of the chaos, improve follow-through, and make everyday functioning feel possible. That matters. It matters a lot. But once a drug becomes medical, it also becomes respectable, familiar, easier to trust. And then the logic spreads. If this helps people focus, and I can't focus, why shouldn't I use it? If it helps people get through school, why not finals week? If it helps people function, why not my job, my side hustle, my 14-hour shift, my impossible workload? That is how amphetamines move beyond treatment and into culture, into libraries, into offices, into hospitals, into long-haul routes and high-pressure careers, into any place where exhaustion is normal and attention is money. And for a while, the drug can seem to make a brilliant case for itself. You take it. The resistance drops. The work starts. Hours disappear. You feel clean, sharp, almost elegant in your ability to keep going. This is the most seductive lie amphetamines tell. Not, you'll feel amazing. You'll finally be who you were supposed to be. The organized version. The disciplined version. The focused version. The one who doesn't get overwhelmed, doesn't procrastinate, doesn't break concentration every 5 minutes. That feeling can be intensely convincing. But amphetamines are not creating a better life. They are creating a more stimulated brain. And that difference is where the trouble begins. For one thing, amphetamines can amplify focus without improving judgment. They can help you write the paper due tomorrow, or spend 6 hours obsessively reorganizing your desktop, cleaning your room with military intensity, or reading about some completely useless side topic as if it holds the key to the universe. The drug can make you persistent. It does not guarantee that you'll persist at the right thing. Then there's the emotional cost. Amphetamines don't just activate attention. They activate your stress systems too. Your heart beats faster, your breathing changes, blood pressure rises, muscles tense. In the right moment, that can feel like energy and confidence. In the wrong moment, it feels like anxiety with nowhere to go. If you're already stressed, underslept, or prone to anxiety, amphetamines can push you from focused to panicked faster than you might expect. Thoughts race. Small worries become huge. Your body feels wrong, and your mind starts hunting for reasons. They can also make you edgy and irritable. Other people start to feel unbearably slow. Interruptions feel aggressive. Patience evaporates. From the inside, you may feel locked in and efficient. From the outside, you may just look wired, tense, and impossible to be around. And then there's the way amphetamines let you ignore your body. You stop feeling hungry, so you don't eat. You stop feeling tired, so you don't rest. You stop noticing thirst, so you don't drink. You stop listening to signals that exist for a reason. That can feel like a superpower for a while, until it doesn't. Because the body keeps track, even when your mind doesn't. Hours later, the debt shows up all at once. Shaky hands, dry mouth, exhaustion, headaches, dehydration, a weird hollow feeling in your chest, and a brain that still refuses to switch off. Sleep is where the bargain starts getting ugly. Amphetamines can help you stay awake when you need to. They can also keep you awake long after need to is over. take too much, take them too late, or simply react badly, and you can end up lying in bed with your body begging for sleep while your mind keeps sprinting in circles. Then morning comes, and now you're wrecked. That's when the next dose stops feeling like a choice. It starts feeling like repair. This is how a tool becomes a cycle. And when the drug wears off, the crash can be brutal. After hours of elevated dopamine and noradrenaline, your brain has to come back down. Energy collapses. Motivation drains out. Your mood can sink hard. Tasks that felt almost easy a few hours ago now feel absurdly heavy. Some people get flat, depressed, anxious, or emotionally hollow. Your brain notices that contrast. It learns the difference between on and off. It learns that one state feels capable and one feels broken. And once it learns that, repeated use becomes much easier to understand. This is where tolerance and dependence start creeping in. At first, amphetamines may feel like a boost. Later, they start to feel like a requirement. The same dose may stop hitting as hard. You may need more, or use them more often, or start reaching for them in situations where you never planned to. And slowly, almost invisibly, the baseline shifts. Now it's not, I take this to do more. It's, I need this just to get started. That's one of the most deceptive things about stimulant dependence. It often isn't about chasing pleasure. It's about chasing competence, chasing clarity, chasing the version of yourself that seemed so effortless when the drug was working. Without it, normal life can start to feel flat and unbearably heavy. Motivation dries up. Concentration feels expensive. You begin to feel as if the amphetamine version of you is the real you, and the unmedicated version is just what's left over. But that's not insight. That's chemistry. Amphetamines are not revealing your true self. They are pushing the brain systems that assign urgency, reward, and significance. The output may be real. The shift may be real. So is the strain. And sometimes that strain goes far beyond anxiety and burnout. One of the most serious risks of heavy amphetamine use is psychosis. If dopamine signaling is pushed too hard, especially in the context of high doses and too little sleep, the brain can start misreading reality itself. Random details feel loaded with meaning. Suspicion hardens into paranoia. Thoughts break apart. Hallucinations can appear. A person may become convinced that people are following them, watching them, talking about them, planning something. Sometimes this fades once the drug is stopped and sleep finally happens. Sometimes it takes much longer. And for some people, stimulant use can trigger much more persistent psychiatric illness. The heart pays too. Amphetamines raise heart rate and blood pressure. In a controlled medical context, those risks can be monitored. In heavy use, chronic misuse, or when mixed with other stimulants, they become much more dangerous. Arrhythmias, heart attack, stroke, these are real risks, not scare tactics. And this is where people make a huge mistake. Because amphetamines can be prescribed, they assume amphetamines are broadly safe. But safe, supervised medical use is not the same thing as using them casually, using more than prescribed, combining them with sleep deprivation, or turning them into a private productivity hack. That difference is enormous. So what are amphetamines, really? They are not a miracle. They are not pure poison. They are not a cheat code for success. They are not just a party drug either. They are powerful chemical tools that fit perfectly into a culture that constantly asks people to override themselves. That's why they're so compelling. They offer more of exactly what the modern world rewards. More focus, more stamina, more output, more control, but they do it by letting you spend yourself harder. They can help you push through exhaustion, but they do not cure burnout. They can force concentration, but they do not build discipline. They can silence your body, but they do not make you stronger than it. They can make you feel sharper, but they cannot make the cost disappear. That is the real danger of amphetamines. Not that they feel awful, that they can feel like the answer. And sometimes, for a while, they do work. That's what makes them so persuasive. That's why some people benefit from them under proper care, and why others slide into a very different relationship with the same class of drug. But the core bargain never changes. Borrow focus now. Borrow energy now. Borrow motivation now. Pay later. And the longer you keep making that trade, the easier it is to forget that what feels like power is often just debt in disguise.